All right, and we are live. And I apologize it wasn't a Saturday show this past weekend, folks. I just had some personal shit I wanted to take care of, or do, I should say.
Welcome
And
back.
oh yeah, I'm not muted, so I'm
Oh, you're not
okay.
muted? Oh,
No,
wait,
I
well,
I, I was hearing myself in my headphones. That was messing me up.
uh,
All right. I guess shit. The big news. We've talked about it already on this channel, but let's talk about it again. The Ralph retort got showed.
oh, yes.
Got showed off of fucking existence, and because of pressure from the Wall Street Journal, they ended up refunding the over $27,000 that the Ralph retort raised for St. Jude's. So fuck everyone at YouTube and fuck everyone at the Wall Street Journal.
So
Um,
remind me again, did they ban him because he said bad things or because of something else?
I don't know what the technical reason for it was. I don't know. They banned him because he's to the right of Karl Marx. I mean, let's be real. Um, I don't know what the fuck their excuse was. I wish all the bad things in life to happen to every single motherfucker that works for the Wall Street Journal and Google. May every bad thing happen to them. May it be the fucking Book of Job for all those motherfuckers.
I think this is a good clip if I can play it. And of course, it won't play.
All right. Well, let's I want to read a Twitter thing. Somebody sent it to me and noticed it, and let me I'll throw it up in the chat for you here, Luke.
Here we go.
Um,
There's this idea that hell is a bottomless pit, and that's because no matter how bad it is, some stupid son of a bitch like you could figure out a way to make it a lot worse.
he's not wrong. Say what you will about Peterson, but a lot of his lectures were very insightful.
So what do we got here?
Okay,
it's Quintus Curtius.
Somehow I don't remember somebody sent this to me because I'm not on Twitter anymore, but I can go on Twitter on my suspended account and see shit. And I've seen this a lot, so I'm not necessarily picking on this guy because I don't really know this guy. I've heard his name thrown around in the circles I've gone in, but I don't really know him personally. Although he has this, going through his Twitter account, he has this weird, I don't know, almost autistic vibe to his. Like, I'm not 100% sure English is his first language when I read his Twitter account, so I'm not trying to be a dick about that. I think English might be his second language. I get that vibe. Anyways, this tweet: excessive wealth and prosperity ushered in debilitating moral corruption in our social and political life that has been going on for 40 years. Rich get richer, steal more and more power, and the public is bought off with amusements and distraction. This can't go on forever. I've noticed this from the trad right for a while now. This sort of and you can bring up his Twitter account on the screen, Luke, if you want, so people know who I'm talking about here. But this sort of weird, I don't know exactly how to describe it. It's like this sort of anti-technology, anti-prosperity bent on the part of a lot of these guys. It's almost like they don't hate the modern world for its faults, but for its virtues. You know what I mean? It's almost like they hate the good things about the modern world. Because as I've said on here numerous times, let's be real, folks. for as many problems as we have in the modern world, and we have some major, major problems we have some downright cancers metastasizing in society that we need to deal with. But make no illusions about the fact that 99.9999999% of your ancestors that ever existed, had they been given the opportunity, would trade places with you in a heartbeat. Would probably suck a dick to do it. You have no idea. There's this spoiled mentality on our part where we never step back and look at how blessed we are. Is this not the month of Thanksgiving? It's a holiday I don't particularly give a shit about, but nonetheless, it's a good habit to be in, particularly for a Christian. Step back once in a while and look at the world around you. Look at the miracles of the modern world around you, and maybe be a little fucking grateful. And maybe be thankful to those ancestors that you downright fucking worship, a lot of you trad right motherfuckers, for all the hard work they did to get us to this point. Okay? Look at a little thing. You have this. Look at your phone. Now, I realize we all dick around and use it to look at fucking cat videos and all. But you have libraries and libraries and libraries of information in your pocket. Look at the miracle of the grocery store, for fuck's sake. I know they're pumping a bunch of soy and corn in most of our food, but nonetheless, again, you think your ancestors wouldn't trade places with you in a heartbeat? You think your great grandfather wouldn't be pretty damn happy to go to your shitty fucking corner grocery store each fucking weekend?
They had to worry about where they got their food is. Here we have the question of whether we have too much food.
Yeah. Hell, the biggest problems in the modern world are the result of us, learning to live with this prosperity. And that's the thing that people on the right should be doing. That's the thing that, us switched on God-fearing K-types ought to be doing. We ought to be looking at the world around us and say, what can we do to deal with the real problems, to cut out the cancer so that we can preserve these amazing miracles for future generations? Not romanticizing a time 1,000 years ago where everyone was toiling in mud farms for the glory of the Catholic Church. You want to talk about income inequality. You want to talk about the rich get richer. All right? And that's the other thing, is anti-capitalism shit from these trad right people. Okay? And again, it's because they're anti-prosperity. They don't hate capitalism because it failed. They hate capitalism because it works. Now, again, you can talk about crony capitalism and corporations. I mean, those are government-created entities. So and no one, aside from the ANCAPs, wants a completely unregulated market. But for the most part, the free market works pretty damn good. It's certainly better than any other option.
And that's pretty much what this holiday is about, is actually putting a time aside and thanking God for all the things he's given us.
Yeah. Take a look around you and be fucking thankful. And quit romanticizing the past. Knock it off with this Amish right shit. Okay? Stop tweeting from your smartphone about how icky technology is.
It's so weird how the quote unquote trad right has so much in common with the main elements of the left, as they complain about the evils of capitalism while enjoying the fruits of capitalism.
There's a spoiled aspect of it, There's like a bored child, who wants to imagine he's a hero on a medieval battlefield or something. There's this spoiled aspect of it where you're bored with how good you have it, is what it boils down to.
As I recall correctly, I think it was Bill Whittle who actually had this long speech about explaining how all previous generations actually had difficulties and accomplishments. But what does this generation have to do? 2 iPhones, 2 big screen TVs, and then they have to resort to fictional trials and tribulations.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. Find something, okay? Find something to do then. But quit trying to be like, oh, it was so much better when, when we died a diarrhea related death at the age of 34 or something. Knock it off with that shit, okay? Because you know what? I'm around a group of people that are like that have embraced this philosophy that you just flirt with, trad right. Okay? Because while you sit there and complain about technology on your smartphone, and while you sit there and complain about prosperity while you are, while you live prosperity, I know of a group of people that have thrown those things away and live in the mud like glorified savages. They're called the Amish. And I know they look so quaint. Oh, you probably think, oh, you know about the Amish. You know how quaint and spiritual they are. You know how spiritual they are. You watched that Harrison Ford movie, so you know. You know. No. Let me tell you something. Because again, this philosophy, this trad right philosophy, it reaches its ultimate zenith when you see a lot of these people talking about how great the Amish are. And I see it. I saw it on Gab a lot. I saw it on Twitter back when I was on it. I fought with people on about this. It's nothing more. And indeed, this trad right horse shit of how we were all better off in the Middle Ages or whatever specific time they want to push us back to. It's nothing more than the right-wing version of the noble savage myth. Because again, I'm around Amish and they're shitbags. They are absolute fucking shitbags. And the ones who are really, really serious about following their edicts, who don't hide a fucking boombox speaker in their buggy or shit like that, they're all dead behind the eyes. Because here's the interesting thing about humanity. We don't create technology. We don't create art and entertainment. We don't attempt to better the living conditions of ourselves merely for animalistic reasons. We don't do these things. We do these things because we have a certain divine spark in us. We do these things because we have to. We have to reach for something. We have to better things. We have to be working on making things better. We have to tell stories. We have to do those things. We have a certain divine creative spark in us. We had to put a man on the moon. Why? Why did we put a man on the moon? What real good did that fucking serve? I'm sure there were some scientific benefits that came from it. But the real good thing it served is that we put a motherfucking man on the moon. We went and stood on it because it was there. And damn it, we were going to stand on it. That thing our ancestors stared at for the entirety of our species' existence that was always out of reach. One day, some big brain nibbas figured out how to reach it. And they did just that. And amazingly, they did just that mere decades after somebody figured out how to make a flying machine work.
We should go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
I don't want to go back to the Middle Ages. I want us to have some shit on Mars by now.
Oh, maybe with Trump we'll actually do, and with Trump we might actually do that too. I mean, he's actually.
Yeah, I prefer the right wing. I prefer the right wingism of Trump. The man who loved the fact that he made shit tons of money in his life. He loved the fact that he succeeded. He loved his success and prosperity. Because, here's the other thing. The Bible tells us a great deal about the dangers of loving money, of making money your God, making prosperity your God, making really anything other than God your God. And it's very, very easy for some autistic or some very spiritually shallow people to read that, and many, many in Christendom do, and imagine that there's some sort of virtue in poverty. that there's some inherent virtue to being a broke-ass motherfucker, to not having abundance, to not being prosperous. And that's not the case. In fact, the Bible tells us numerous times about how we should work hard and make money, how we should save money, how we should be wise with money. Numerous times does it tell us to acquire things, to work to be prosperous. It simply tells us to not make a god out of that. But by the same token, don't make a god out of poverty.
Also, poverty, and if I can say so, poverty is a pretty lousy god, as it doesn't really offer you much.
So I had a little we're gonna go ahead and throw this up here because I did this for shits and giggles, and I knew it would get a rise out of people. As part of why I did it. Because I like fucking with people. I don't know if y'all noticed this about me, but I like fucking with people. I like fucking with you, the audience. So this is a little meme I had Luke throw together for me. I threw it in the chat there, Luke, if you want. It's the Thanksgiving one. So I had one of the change your mind memes where I said Thanksgiving is just the boring middle child between Halloween and Christmas. Changed my mind. Now, I know I just was rambling on about, Thanksgiving and all this other stuff. I don't hate Thanksgiving, not really. And I certainly don't hate the spirit behind it. But as a kid, I never really liked it as a holiday. And the reason being is largely the secular aspects of things. I mean, Halloween is fun on the bun. I think we've all discussed that. Halloween is fun on the bun. Christmas is obviously awesome. Especially as a kid. You get cool shit as a kid and everything. There's lights all over the place and everything just seems so fucking magical and all. I never liked Thanksgiving as a kid. Part of this was I was never very close to a lot of my extended family as a kid. I didn't even live in the same state as any of my extended family, really. And I don't really like a lot of that kind of country kitchen style food that typically is served on Thanksgiving. And I've never liked football. So Thanksgiving usually amounted to, as a kid, hanging out with a bunch of people you barely know and don't particularly like, eat food you don't particularly like, and then watch a game you don't particularly like. Now, I actually kind of like Thanksgiving now. I go to my dad's one cousin with him, and she puts out a great spread of food, and not just traditional Thanksgiving food, but actual fucking good food. And it's a great day. I thoroughly enjoy it. And I actually noticed last year nobody put the game on. Found that very interesting with how football how football is not quite so popular here all of a sudden.
A good sign of things to come.
With working red-blooded Americans anymore. Because it used to be, we'd show up a little earlier than some of the other people. And I'd usually, switch from the parade to go find something that was on, Like, I think one year I was watching a marathon of the show House. I think another year, what was it? I was watching, like, James Bond movies. There's usually some James Bond movies on. This year I was watching Jurassic Park. Great movie. And, everybody starts pouring in. And I thought to myself, fuck. They're probably going to put the game on. Damn it. I'm watching Jurassic Park. I don't want to watch a game, but oh well, whatever. Shut up, grin and bear it. be all sociable and stuff. And then I noticed something. I noticed Jurassic Park was over and nobody had changed the channel. And I noticed Jurassic Park 2 had started and nobody changed the channel. And I noticed we're like halfway through Jurassic Park 2 when, you know, we turn the TV off because dinner's ready. I know, and I took stock of that. Nobody put the game on. But yeah, as a kid, I don't have a lot of nice memories of Thanksgiving. You know, a lot of family tension, food that I thought sucked, and you know, being forced to fucking watch football. So I don't really have a great Thanksgiving was always that thing I had to get through to get to fucking Christmas after Halloween. I mean, yeah, it was nice to have the time off from school, but you know.
Yeah.
What about Luke? Luke, you took quite the exception to my meme. I noticed you immediately had a response on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, my experience with holidays has always been very different because I've had, even though my extended family lives in Oregon and Minnesota, we've always had an excuse to get together for the holidays. Like they were the busy times, always when the mothers got together, cook the food, the dads would just hang out and watch sports. And I would just wonder, why am I related to this family as I try to draw in the corner? But, it basically, and I think the reason I just take issue with it is because Halloween things and Christmas are appealing because they are essentially for the kids. Halloween and Christmas are essentially Thanksgiving days for the children, whereas Thanksgiving is, well, quote unquote, a real holiday that anyone can enjoy because it's connected to the continuation of our country, and it's a day that we actually set aside. Thank God for everything that we have. I know as a kid that's not very interesting, but as an adult, I think, wow, that's actually a really meaningful holiday that I can actually enjoy, and not without being swallowed up in the superficiality of it all.
I can respect that, and like I said, I certainly enjoy the spirit of it a lot more as an adult. That said, though, I can't stress this enough. Halloween's fun on the bun, and I love Halloween as an adult. I almost love it. Oh, I think there was a time, yeah, as a kid, I loved trick-or-treating and stuff. But then, kind of as a teenager and all, you didn't really think much of Halloween. But now as an adult, I love it, man. I wish I got more trick-or-treaters where I live. I'd love to be giving out candy for and stuff.
Oh, that was fun. I actually made a pumpkin with the NPC meme on it.
Oh, yeah.
and the kids walked by and say, that's a cool pumpkin.
I never get a chance. I haven't in several years had a chance to do a jack-o'-lantern, but that's a lot of fun, man. Christmas, I don't know. I never reached a point where I didn't love Christmas. And it's not just because you get shit. Like, yeah, it's nice to get gifts, don't get me wrong. But I rather prefer doing Christmas shopping, man. I'm the kind of guy who traditionally I tend to do Christmas shopping insanely early. I tend to do it like bits and pieces throughout the year. I'm like excited for Christmas in fucking February. Okay? Like, in fact, most years, the vast majority of my Christmas shopping is done in the summer. Because, that's when all the Comic Cons and shit happen. And I can just, I got a lot of nerd friends and shit like that. I can do a lot of shopping then. And hell, I do shopping for my dad at those places too. And he's not even any kind of real nerd. But I mean, like usually at any kind of big size Comic Con, there's a guy selling bootleg DVDs. Now, when I was born, there was a show on called Tales of the Gold Monkey. And it was some sort of Indiana Jones ripoff show. And when my dad loved it. It was like one of his favorite shows. And then, when he's watching the show, my mother's water broke and he had to take her to the hospital. And he used to always kind of bust my balls a little bit. He'd be like, I missed Tales of the Gold Monkey for you. So I'm at a Comic-Con the one year, and this is like June. You got to remember, maybe it's early July. And I see fucking Tales of the Gold Monkey, the whole series on DVD. Now, this is shit that somebody had taped off fucking TV, and it had been then later transferred to DVD. I mean, it's bootleg as bootleg could be. You get like the "We'll be right back," and then it like the fucking VHS static for a split second, and then now back to Tales of the Gold Monkey kind of shit.
Yeah, I know that.
And but nonetheless, it was the whole show. And I picked that up in June, tucked that away into my sock drawer, and after Thanksgiving, I went ahead and wrapped that up for him, and put a little note on it that said we're even. I love Christmas for that kind of shit. I love getting stuff for people. I love getting stuff for people that they like. Anybody can just go out to Target and buy you some shit, like whoopee, whatever. I mean, it's great when you receive, whatever you get as a gift, it's great, but when people really put that kind of like thought and time into it and shit like that for you, like that's just great, man. I love Christmas. I love decorating a Christmas tree. I love doing all that kind of shit. And obviously there's the aspect of, Christ's birth. I never really gave much of a crap about the religious aspects of Christmas as a kid. I wasn't really raised Christian. I wasn't I was, I guess, nominally Christian, but we never went to church kind of thing, like so many people in America. But obviously I can appreciate that a lot more as an adult that's a Christian. I just never really gave much of a shit about the secular aspects of Thanksgiving, as it were, the actual activities.
Yeah, there's not a lot of fun secular activities to have to that, mainly because Thanksgiving is more or less an adult holiday. Although, as I've mentioned, like in a couple over the years, I've had shown a certain disdain for Christmas. But at this point, I've just decided to accept the fact, look, it's just something that we do. It's something we've carried over into secular holidays. But I'm not going to fool myself into thinking it has something like actually associates with Christ's birth, although we'd like to believe so.
It's kind of funny, I mean, Easter is obviously from a religious standpoint the far more important holiday on the Christian calendar, and there's way more ancillary or secular things about Christmas than there is Easter. I mean, obviously, little kids will get like an Easter basket or something for Easter, but at least when I was a kid, I don't know what kids are like now. What's going on with kids? Maybe you got like one little toy in it, but it was usually just a bunch of candy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like one year I had like one Ninja Turtle action figure in an Easter basket or something. You know what I mean? But it's like most of the time it was just here's a bunch of candy, and that's fine. You're a kid, you love candy, but I mean that doesn't compare to Christmas. You know what I mean? It's like, man, Santa will bring you a fucking Nintendo. Easter Bunny just brings you some jelly beans.
Yeah, he'll get you some bicycles that he conveniently leaves in the garage.
Yeah, Santa's way better at bringing gifts. Easter Bunny, he just seems to stop at fucking CVS and get you a bag of candy.
And get some plastic ornaments with it too, like little plastic eggs to keep them in too.
Like I said, I mostly kind of wanted to get a rise out of people, but I've never really given much crap about Thanksgiving. I like it more as an adult, and part of that isn't just because I'm an adult. Part of that's because I just have a. Part of that's because I go somewhere where I get better food. I'm not gonna lie, like I go somewhere where I get damn good food, and it's not the shit most people have on Thanksgiving. And I know a lot of people obviously like that stuff. I don't. All right. I don't want to eat, country kitchen slop with a whole bunch of gravy on it. That's just not for me. I have a very un-American food palate in that regard. Like, I think gravy is disgusting. To me, gravy looks like something they should be serving an orphan in a Charles Dickens novel.
Oh.
It's like, you want some gravy on your mashed potatoes? I mean, what? No, just give me some butter. Gravy. Oh, put sour cream on them. What's this gravy shit? Hell, I don't even particularly like turkey that much. I don't dislike it, but...
Well, the thing is, turkey is very dry, but it tastes a whole lot better with the gravy. Like gravy is like a fix-all.
If you like a honey-baked ham, and usually my dad's cousin will do a honey-baked ham. Oh, the one year she had a caramel apple ham. Oh, that was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was awesome. The only quote-unquote traditional Thanksgiving food I actually really like is cranberry sauce. And I don't even like some people mix it in with everything else. Again, it looks like a bunch of slop. I eat it like separately, but I love cranberry sauce. I like the cranberry sauce that comes right out of the can. It's still shaped like the can. That's the kind I like. That's the only traditional Thanksgiving food I actually like. And I never eat it other than Thanksgiving. It's like, I mean, I'm a grown-ass man. I can go to the grocery store right now and buy a can of it and eat it if I wanted to. But it just I never even think to eat it except on Thanksgiving. I mean, it's right at the grocery store. Not right now I can't because I don't have a 24/7 grocery store, but I mean, I'd go tomorrow. If I was so hell-bent on getting it, I could drive half an hour to the 24/7 grocery store, get myself a can of it. But I never do except on Thanksgiving. But yeah, I knew I'd get a rise out of some people out of that thing. Like even Pastor Tom's jumping on me. People on the Bechtloff page are jumping on me. Like, what are you doing? Like, nope. Thanksgiving.
The boring middle child of the holiday season, to which I'll say, as a boring middle child, well, I take umbrage with that.
And part of it is I fucking hate football. Like, football can go fuck itself. Okay, everything about football can go fuck itself. I'm not a sports ball guy in the first place, but like I can watch like basketball, and I'm okay with it. I'm not a fan. I wouldn't call myself a fan, but like I've had friends that were fans before, and I didn't mind watching the game with them. I kind of actually like hockey. I've always had a real soft spot for hockey. I don't necessarily follow it because I just don't think to. And it's more like I follow football against my will. You know what I mean? Like I know who won the Super Bowl last year, and I don't want to know. I know who won the Super Bowl before that, and I didn't want to know. I'll know who is in and who won the Super Bowl this year, even though I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I know apparently the Packers lost this weekend because I had to hear people talking about it in the break room. I don't want to know that. I don't give a shit if the Packers win. I don't give a shit if everybody on the team of the fucking Green Bay Packers drops fucking dead right now. I don't give a shit. I don't care about football. Fuck football, especially now that it's all a bunch of fucking communists. Fuck football. I never liked it. I never found it entertaining. I think it's slow as fuck to watch. And Thanksgiving, we were all going to watch some football. Oh, that's fucking great. After I ate a bunch of food I didn't like, now I get to watch something I don't like. Yeah, like hockey, I do like hockey, but again, I don't really follow it that much because, again, like I kind of got to go out of my way to follow it, and just a lot of times I don't think of it. But every once in a while, when it is hockey season, I like to look up how the Capitals are doing. You know? Every once in a while, if I'm flipping through the channels and it's hockey season and there's a game on, I usually just hang out and watch the game. You know, hell, I mean, I don't hockey games are some of the few sports video games I own. I have NBA Jam for the Super Nintendo Tournament Edition, and then after that, I have NHL '97 for the Genesis. I have NHL Hockey for the Game Gear, and I have Blades of Steel for both the NES and Game Boy. So I mean, I was actually kind of kicking around the idea of picking up one of the NHL games for the 360 just as a good time waster because I'm sure they're dirt cheap. Used sports games, especially, of the last 10 years or so, I mean, I could probably pick one. I could probably get like NHL 15 or NHL 14 or 13 or something on the 360. I bet you it's like $5 if that. I mean, I've seen old Maddens like 3-4 years old go for like $2 at used video game stores. Like, just here, please, you throw this out.
Would this improve your interest in football?
Well, that is mildly interesting, yes. I will say though, the NHL games on that EA did in the '90s were fantastic, especially on the Genesis. Genesis was a little bit better at just had a faster processor, and they could handle a bunch of sprites moving around really fast that in ways the Super Nintendo couldn't quite do. Hockey games on the Genesis were great. In fact, NHL '94, which is like the first year that EA really got NHL right, it was actually it's got a cult following. It's one of those handful of retro sports games that has a cult following. It's like up there with Tecmo Bowl or NBA Jam. And so much so that when NHL 14 came out, NHL 94 was included in it as like a 20th anniversary, like kind of add on to it.
Here we go.
What are you throwing up there?
NHL.
Oh, NHL 94. Fuck yeah, man. Now I have 97. Is the one I picked up for my Genesis collection, my humble little Genesis collection. But 94 on up is when EA really got it right, and it's just fun. It's just a fun game, man. Oh, and I actually found out there's a channel I like, SNES Drunk, and I even threw this up on the wish list because I'm keeping an eye on getting it. But apparently they put an NHL 2002 out for the Game Boy Advance, right? And what was interesting about that is it was basically the exact same engine as the mid-90s NHL games, like this one. So it was that kind of 90s style gameplay, but with like a 2002 team and player roster. So it's kind of an interesting, it actually goes for about $10-15, which is rare for a used sports game. But yeah, he was mentioned, it's kind of interesting, it's like because the Game Boy Advance was damn near a portable Super Nintendo almost. I mean, it was almost as powerful as a Super Nintendo. That's why it had ports of a lot of Super Nintendo games. Now, they weren't quite as good as the Super Nintendo versions, but still. Yeah, man. I had some fun memories with my one cousin at NHL 97. I don't even think he owned it. I think he just rented it. But yeah, on the Genesis. I've always had a soft spot for hockey. Hockey's the only thing I've actually gone and seen a professional game. As a kid, my dad took me to a Capitals game once because I was just starting to kind of get into hockey. Never really became a hardcore fan, but I've just always had a soft spot for it.
Well, it's a lot more fast-paced than football, that's for sure.
Yeah, if you think about it, soccer is basically like fucking slow-mo hockey. Yeah, it's just so much more fast-paced, and it's just great, man.
The balance, the focus, especially when you're on the ice.
Oh, yeah, those guys can skate. Like, I couldn't skate to save myself. Like, as a kid, I used to play a little bit of street hockey, where we'd have like a little tennis ball as a puck. And, you're just running around after the thing. But I could never skate, man. Holy shit. I couldn't. Yeah. I don't think I could stay on my feet for like 2 fucking seconds on skates. I could barely roller skate, let alone fucking ice skate on a blade.
And I never figure out how to keep my balance.
Yeah, hockey's just fun on the bun, though. And again, it's just so much more fast paced. Like, shit actually happens. I don't know, man. I've just never liked football. And I've never been all that impressed with the quote unquote athleticism of football. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, any football player is more athletic than my fat fucking ass. But when I just compare them to like other sports and shit, like, I mean, hockey seems way more difficult to me. Professional hockey, you got to fucking skate. You kidding me? And then like basketball. Basketball is just an amazing spectacle athletically. I mean, you got 8 foot tall fucking dindoos bouncing around the court like goddamn Spider-Man. And you're going to tell me that's not impressive? And And in basketball and hockey, you'll notice they don't take a fucking timeout every 3 seconds like in football. And that's even before you compare it to more, I guess, extreme sports like MMA or something like that. I fuck football, man. I don't get why that is the sport in this country. And I got buddies of mine that are huge into it. Like I had a buddy of mine try to tell me, no, football's like the gladiators of old. I'm like, nigga, are you serious? Like, who would you rather is like trying to kick your ass, a football player or an MMA guy? Let me ask you that, you know? Who would you rather try to jump you in a dark alley? Now, odds are either one of them's kicking my fucking ass. But I think I got at least a snowball's chance in hell against the football player.
Oh yeah, I remember the NES for hockey games. You actually like if you in certain situations, if you're close together, you actually can start fights with each other.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. Was that? I'm not sure if that was '94 or not. They added that, but I know it was one of those. I know it was in '97. Yeah, I think it was last summer. I was just at the retro game store, and I just thought to myself, like, because like you see like rows and rows of the fucking sports games that they can barely sell. And I thought, yeah, fuck it. I'm getting an NHL 97. If I could actually figure out how to get like gameplay on my channel, like capture gameplay footage, and I am talking to some friends about that. I'd like to actually do more of that. I was kind of thinking like, maybe you pop in like a Madden and you do like a thing right before the Super Bowl where you do a live stream of it and you try, you predict who wins by having two people play those teams. And I mean, I know I could grab a Madden for the fucking Genesis for like damn near 99 cents. I think it's more expensive for me to go to the fucking gas station and get myself a Pepsi than to buy fucking Madden on the Genesis. If I ask them really, really nicely, they might actually give me a copy. The other thing that hockey on the Genesis always reminds me of is the beginning of Mallrats.
Mallrats.
Brody's girlfriend wants him to take her to breakfast, and he like starts playing the fucking hockey game on the Genesis. Breakfast is come and go, okay? But Hartford, the Whalers, that's a once in a lifetime game, sweetie. Somebody in the chat mentions Tecmo Bowl. Yeah, Tecmo Bowl is another one of those sports games that actually has a cult following to this day. In fact, I remember. I shouldn't say remember. Can't talk. What Pat the NES Punk was actually talking about on his channel at some point. To this day, they do. There's a big Tecmo Bowl community and Tecmo Super Bowl community and all in the retro game scene, and they do like updated ROM hacks of it each year with new players and teams, the new rosters. And there's like tournaments of Tecmo Bowl each year. Like it's actually got an esports fucking following. I'm gonna go through the chat here. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, that one of the ads that keep disappearing. Arthur McSeller refuses to stand up to Trump.
Oh yeah.
She refuses to stand up to Trump. That sounds like someone I want to vote for.
Oh, dude, I was talking with somebody and I couldn't remember her name, but I'm like, it's just like that fucking communist in New York. The one with the crazy eyes and the horse teeth. And the girl I was talking to starts laughing. And I'm like, you know who I'm talking about? And she's like laughing. She's like, I know exactly who you're talking about. Cortez, I guess, is her name or something. Yeah, people still love Tecmo Bowl, man. In fact, that was actually one of the games on the NES Classic. Imagine that, a fucking sports game thrown on the NES Classic.
At least in the video game version of football, you have your timeout is only as long as you want it to be.
I barely even know the fucking rules of football, for fuck's sake. It's funny too. A few months ago, I was with a little cousin and he wanted to play Madden. And I'm like, okay, fine. You're a little kid. I'll excuse your terrible taste. But because I do love the kid. I do love him like a little brother. He's a great kid. But I'm doing okay playing Madden. And I have no idea how to play Madden. And I have only I'd say about a 40 to 50% grasp of the actual fucking rules of football. Okay. Like I barely know what I'm doing. And still, this game fucking plays itself. That's part of the reason I'm not sure if I want to grab a modern NHL game. Is it just a series of cutscenes? Like that's all Madden seems like. Just a series of cutscenes. Now, I get that this game, okay, Tecmo Bowl, you could say, well, that's the same thing. You just pick a play. But you do have some control over it. Plus, I mean, this was the fucking NES. There wasn't a great deal that could be done. But yeah, if I can figure out how to hell to live stream games and capture game footage and all, I might try and predict the Super Bowl as a yearly thing with either Tecmo Bowl or one of the Maddens. Again, because I know Tecmo Bowl actually might cost a few bucks because I don't own Tecmo Bowl, but it might actually be a few bucks to get a copy of it. I know it's still decently in demand, but I think they also made a whole bunch of them, so that might keep it back. With the early Maddens, oh man, they're dirt fucking cheap. I bet you could get like Madden 95 on the Genesis for like $1. It's like I said, I think NHL 97 was like $8 or $9, something like that. And the NHL games on the Genesis, I mean, are they actually have a cult following still. Meanwhile, no Madden fan wants to go play Madden 94. Like, you never fucking hear that. It's kind of an interesting thing with sports games. Sports games sort of have that worse aspect of video games. Like the modern video game industry, yeah, there's the retro game scene, and I'm obviously into it a lot. But with so many gamers, it's like they buy the new game that's been hyped up a ton. They play it for like a week, and then they sell it back to GameStop and forget it ever existed. Like that seems to be the cycle for so many games these days. At least this is what I see from a lot of my gamer friends, they play a game, they beat it, or they get bored with it, then they forget it ever existed. They sell it back to GameStop, forget it ever existed.
Especially true for football games when the only real improvement is the graphics.
Yeah, there's slight tweaks in the graphics. Maybe there's a tweak in gameplay here and there. By and large, though, it's basically, just the roster has changed. If anything, Madden's a perfect example of a game that should maybe just not get physical releases anymore. Like maybe just DLC pack it. Like, I mean, basically, like the only time you see a real difference, at least from what I understand, is when there's a jump to the next generation console. I will say though, if you don't mind playing an older one, and you like Madden, I mean, just stay a year behind and you'll be saving yourself tons of money. I mean, I think like last year's Madden is probably like what, $15-20, as opposed to dropping the 60 on it. It's definitely not something that holds its value. But yeah, you never see somebody's like, oh, I got a hankering to play some 2003 Madden. I mean, and I would think you would. Like, if you're a big sports fan and you followed sports for years, wouldn't you want to reminisce about, who the big players were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that? I would think, but I don't necessarily get myself in the head of some of these sports guys. Let's see.
Before you go to the chat, would you like to see the new Democrat ad video I found for you?
Sure. Let's watch it. Let's roll that beautiful footage.
Did you see it? Well, it's really interesting about this footage because it's not in a traditional sense because it's not made by the Democrat Party.
What, one of the super PACs or something?
No. Are you familiar with Jello Apocalypse?
Oh, that's a guy that did like Welcome to Tumblr and Welcome to DeviantArt and stuff.
Yeah.
So what is this, a parody of the Democrats?
I want to say yes, but I think he's really sincere. You should wait till you see it. I'll show you. Okay,
I'm on the edge of my seat. Let's fire this up.
Let's see. Get my audio straightened on. See if this is even playing right. Here we go. Here we go. It's just called Vote, period. And if it'll just let me... here we go. And now sound on. And we are a go.
This is a message for my American viewers. Vote. Vote, vote, vote. Vote on Tuesday, November the 6th. Vote now if you can. Get your friends to vote. Get your family to vote. Get everyone you know to vote. Vote even if they shut down your usual polling place. Vote even if your polling place was moved unreasonably far away. Vote even if they make it hard. Vote even if you need to skip work. Those few hours of wages aren't worth your country being an unsafe place for you and your family. Vote even if you think they'll throw your vote away. Vote even if you think it's rigged. Vote even if you think your vote doesn't matter. Because it does. Because the only way to guarantee that your vote won't count is not to vote. Democracy isn't about waiting for someone else to change things when things are so obviously wrong. Democracy is about waiting for you and your voice. Vote. Don't vote for a color. Don't vote for a party. Vote for the people who will help other people. Because that's what a government is for. Helping people. Read about your candidates and vote for the people you can trust. Look up who they really are and read about what they've really done. You might be surprised. If you voted for the current administration because you genuinely thought they would really help America, that's fine. That's what you should always do. Your vote and your voice matter. But don't be afraid to look at our country now and reconsider. There's nothing wrong with having backed the wrong horse. There is something wrong with seeing that horse running towards a cliff and refusing to get off just because it's your horse. Vote. Vote as though...
Are you noticing a pattern in this?
Okay, I'm gonna give this guy a little bit of I guess praise. This is very, very, very civil and very, very fair-minded for being a communist who still needs to get out of my helicopter.
Oh, we're only halfway done.
Okay, maybe he goes off the rail, but like I don't hate him right now. I'm not mad, Jello Apocalypse. I'm just disappointed.
Children are being separated from their parents at the border. Vote as though it's your child being separated from you. Vote like trans people are being erased from the census and being told they do not exist. Vote like a black man.
I don't know if you're aware of this, Jello Apocalypse, but there's actually a place where Mexican children and their parents can stay together. And it's called fucking Mexico. Keep going.
Man was hanged from a tree for protesting police violence and police killing black men just for being black. Vote like your president is a nationalist, because he is. Vote like the term...
I will vote like my president is a nationalist.
As if that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I will. I will do that, yes. I will do that, Jello Apocalypse. You have my word. I will do that.
Thank you, Jello.
Right is now a household term for fascism and hate. Because it is. Vote like Jewish people are being gunned down in a synagogue like it's 1939. Because they are. Vote like this is...
Wow.
I thought alt-right was synonymous with being a joke and sucking dick, because it is.
Yeah. Like,
by the way, I don't know if y'all knew this, but remember Ross? Remember good old Ross, the pedophile with the bathtub stuff that Medicare made fun of? He's actually alt-right. I don't know if y'all knew that.
Yes.
But he was arguing with Empty Hero, and he kept calling him a nigger and kept saying, like, why can't niggers be slaves again? So if you combine that position with the fact that he's also a horrible sexual deviant, I can only conclude Ross confirmed for alt-right.
He's the low IQ Richard Spencer.
He is the more autistic Richard Spencer. The more autistic but less gay Richard Spencer. Keep going.
Is the world we live in, because it is. And if now isn't the time for political,
the world's on fire. The world's on fire. Well, some of us just like to watch the world burn, Jello. Keep going.
Vote like you love humans.
I'm actually not fond of humans myself. I'm not a fan.
Other people have pointed this out. This is such an NPC response. Vote like you're human. Oh,
maybe Alex was right about the lizard people. Vote like you love humans. You love the taste of them, I guess. You fucking monster. Keep going.
Like you love all humans, and you believe that no one should be deported or beaten or killed because of how they look or where they were born or who they love or who they are.
I don't
like
that at all.
Well,
I think some people do need a boot in their ass.
Yeah, shouldn't they be deported because they're from somewhere else? They're not supposed to be here. I mean, isn't that the point? Also, I know someone else knows this, but notice how every time a good thing is on, it's always blue, and everything bad happens, it's always red. Mm-hmm. Subtle.
Really makes you think. Orange man bad.
Vote because you love America. Because you know it's broken, and you need to be the one to repair it again. Because if you don't, nobody else will. Vote.
Well, I will give Jello Apocalypse this much at least. At least he's made an ad that doesn't vanish so you can't find it anymore.
You know what's sad? This is like less shitty than most of the fellow Democrats. Did you see the thing where like there's a guy running in Texas?
Oh yeah, eye patch.
Yeah, the eye patch guy, and I mean this fucking soy boy on SNL is like, oh, he looks. And actually, I didn't even think it was that that insulting. But the guy goes, and I actually thought it was kind of funny. I'll be honest with you. But the guy's like, this guy is actually running for Congress, and he's not playing a hitman in a porno movie, which I thought was kind of funny because that guy looks real. He's a handsome dude. He looks badass with his eye patch. He looks like you could cast him as a villain in something. Like he looks great with that eye patch. And you know what else? The guy, like, the pussy on SNL, like, no, you never make fun of a veteran. You don't make fun. Like, a veteran has to be a complete shitbag, like John McCain levels, before you're allowed to make fun of him, okay? Like, where nobody likes him anymore. But, yeah, don't make fun of a veteran's war injury, okay? Even if your joke is funny, don't do it.
Isn't this isn't this the same guy who's the boyfriend to that girl? He's like, he looks pale. Like he
has like gray hair. He looks like an 80-year-old lesbian. But I'm not even going to play it because we're not going to play it.
Yeah. Look! Notice the subtlety imagery in this.
Fucking Jello Apocalypse. I thought better of you, man. You had some great YouTube videos.
Yeah, those videos where he's making fun, like he points out the silliness of Tumblr and all that other nonsense, and then all of a sudden, oh, there you go.
Let's see. Somebody says if Iron Man 3 had dared to play the Mandarin straight, he would be making tweets like that. I guess referring to Quentin Scardia's tweets. Let's see. Thanksgiving is the third best holiday. Fight me. Well, I mean, if that's after Halloween and Christmas, I guess I'm not going to argue with you too much.
Oh yeah, the guy's name. Yeah, the politician's name is Dan Crenshaw. That's just an awesome name right there.
Oh, dude, he looks so badass. He looks like a character in like a soap opera or something. He looks so fucking cool, and he seems like such a cool guy. Like he has this ad where he talks about like, they took my eye, they didn't take my freedom. And he's like eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich and shit. Like
compare and contrast.
Yeah, really. Who looks fucking cooler there? And this guy sucked. Like, again, I don't want to play it, but like he can't even get through his fucking lines without laughing like a fucking school child trying to tell you a joke. Like, what the fuck happened to SNL, man?
It went the way of the NFL, I guess.
See, part of it isn't just the joke; it was the delivery with this guy. Like, if Norm Macdonald back in the day would have made that joke about the guy, nobody would have said anything about it, and he probably would have laughed at it. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't that offensive a joke. It really wasn't. Like, you take a look at the guy and you're like, you may be surprised to know this guy's running for Congress and not playing a hitman in a porn parody. Like, but that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's funny. But then you try to backtrack to say, I know he lost his eye in the war, but whatever.
That's when he looked like the shitbag. You know what I mean? When he's like snickering, like, he lost his eye in war or whatever.
Yeah, you have to explain your joke.
If you would have instead, like the way Norm Macdonald delivered, if you would have been like, he would have laughed at that, something like that. If the audience kind of groaned at you or something, like he'd think it's funny, or even just kind of like look over at the picture and going, "What? I'm saying he looks badass," like then nobody would be talking about this. But by acting like such a little weasel. This fucking gray-haired lesbian or whatever this dude over here is, like why is your hair gray? Why do you look simultaneously 69 and 29? What the fuck is going on with this guy? Anyways, he's basically ensured this Dan guy's gonna win. I don't know how he was doing in the polls before this, but I know after this he's gonna fucking win. Because first of all, look at that guy. I'd vote for that. That's not even that good of a picture of him, and I'd vote for that guy. Just you don't have to tell me anything about his politics. I know everything about his politics just looking at him. Okay, I just look at that guy and I'm like, that dude right there. How did he lose his eye? He lost his eye fucking fighting ragheads in Afghanistan. That dude right there. Sign him the fuck up. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, come 2024, that needs to be our fucking president. I want to see an eye patch motherfucker leading our Space Force.
Oh, perfect.
Getting back to the opening topic, that's the kind of right wing I am. I don't want to go back to being a mud farmer. I want Dan Crenshaw, or whatever his name is, to be leading our Space Force when he has, and I want on his desk to be the skull of this SNL guy that he drinks scotch out of.
With a matching wig to cover the drink.
Yeah, he puts the wig over it. He puts the fucking gray, fucking cool wine ant fucking wig that this guy's wearing or whatever. Look at that guy.
What actor does he remind you? He looks just like
That's the thing. He does look like he's playing a hitman in a porn parody. And I'm saying that as a compliment.
Russell Crowe, that's what he looks like.
He does look like Russell Crowe. Holy shit. Like that guy seems cool as fuck.
The red wave. I'm going to watch the footage tomorrow. The red wave is going to be beautiful. The red tsunami is going to be beautiful.
I wish that guy was running for office in my fucking district. Because and by the way, I'm going into the voting booth tomorrow, and I am gonna, for the first time in my life, pull the fucking R lever. Now I voted straight Republican before, but it's always been one of those like case by case things. I've never just pulled the R lever. I'm gonna pull the fucking R lever. I am gonna yank the fucking R lever down with the might of Zeus. I am going to briefly pretend I'm this cool-ass eye patch motherfucker over here when I yank it down. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just Fuck yeah. Cha-ching. I'm going to act like I'm Dr. Frankenstein pulling the big lever to like give the monster life.
Pull the switch.
That's how much I'm going to fucking yank that lever down. All right. Let's go through the chat here a little bit. Somebody says the future belongs to those who show up. Okay. I'm not sure what that was referring to. It's a problem with going through the chat later. Let's see. They envy the rich, Bechtloff, because they can't get it without being famous. The trad right is like handsome Jack acting like a hero. Do you prefer republic over monarchy or dictatorship? I mean, over dictatorship, yeah. Monarchy, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of compelling arguments for monarchy, and there's even compelling arguments from a kind of a libertarian standpoint. Like the Hans Hermann Hoppe, the democracy, the god that failed. On one level, first of all, people get the government they deserve. Even with a monarchy. I mean, a monarch can only do so much shit before the people drag him out of the castle and put him up on a meat hook. I mean, he's just a man. He's not General Zod, I don't know. See, the thing is, I see a lot of really, really good theoretical arguments for the monarchy. But at the same time, there's a reason we got rid of the fucking monarchy, okay? They were all assholes. All right. And you know what? There is a monarchy in the world right now, and it's called North fucking Korea. Oh, that's not a monarchy, Bechtloff. Really? It's not? Because you had a guy who had absolute fucking authoritarian control over a country who then left said country to his son, who then left said country to his son. I don't see how that's not a monarchy in all but name only. You have a king who, rules this country as his father did before him and as his father did before him. I certainly don't want to fucking live there, though. Yeah, but see, my vision of a monarchy, the king would be really good and a virtuous man. Okay, yeah, it sounds fucking great when that's the case.
If we must have a monarchy, I nominate myself. And my general principle would be the best way to rule over people is not lord over them. Now let's see how long that lasts.
Yeah, I mean, you can put me in charge, and I mean, don't get me wrong. The first week or so, there's going to be a lot of people. I'm going to decide they got to go, but after that, I'm probably going to chill the fuck out and leave you all alone for the most part.
You'll probably have just your 10% tax to supply your castle and your redhead harem.
Yeah, that's it. See, it's just a fucking castle full of old Nintendo games and redheads. That's all. Just leave me alone. Other than that. I'm going to put, I'm not the guy who makes sure the trains run on time. I'm the guy who kills the motherfucker who failed to make the trains run on time. That would be my leadership style. Like, remember when the EPA fucked up that river out in the Northwest a couple years ago? Like the EPA asshole went into this fucking factory or whatever. I don't remember the exact details, but I remember like the EPA guy was like, "This is all wrong. Let me show you how it's done." And then he fucks up, and these chemicals spill in the water, and this whole river is fucking destroyed. If I was king, I would have taken my guy who's in charge of my EPA, and we'd still have an EPA because you got to have the nice environment. And I would have taken the head of the EPA, and I would have personally, live on television, drowned him in that river. Personally, I would have held his head under the water until he stops kicking. And if he fought me on it, his whole bloodline's gone. And then I'd turn over to the second in command of the EPA, and I would congratulate him on his promotion. And then I would tell him, now clean this shit up. Oh, and make sure he goes into a shallow grave upside down. And I think my country would run pretty smoothly. Because basically it's like everybody knows, like, don't make Bechtloff do stuff. That's the general guideline of Bechtloff's monarchy. Don't make him have to do shit. Okay? Don't yank him away from his Mario games and his redhead harem. Because he's not going to be happy about it. All right? Like just make shit run smoothly so he doesn't have to do shit about it. Because he's gonna start cutting heads off when he does. All right, moving through the chat here. Let's see. The trad right lack the Protestant work ethic. Exactly. That is that is the biggest problem with these fucking Catholic and Orthodox motherfuckers. That's why all the countries that are Catholic are fucking lazy ass shitholes.
But you notice that they notice the temples are really impressive.
You know, hell, Italy's the only one that has half a fucking work ethic that's mostly Catholic. And even them, there's some corrupt motherfuckers, all right? There's a reason why you know, you still stereotypically think of the mob as Italian. Let's see. Somebody says, I saw an Amish woman buy 2 carts of Doritos and Mountain Dew and mentioned this to my uncle, and he said it's because they have a secret room with flat screens and arcade machines. Well, I actually almost got a job working for an Amish guy one time. And I'm actually grateful I didn't get the job because I know I would have hated it. But I was applying as a driver for his little construction crew. And, you know, he's like, come by at 6 for the interview. So I come by his house, you know, knocking on the door. And he goes, oh, we're just finishing dinner. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, that's fine. You know, I'm coming to your house. That's fine. Whatever. He goes, give me a minute and I'll be right with you. And then he takes me up to this room above his garage. That is one of the nicest home offices you've ever seen. High-end computer, all this shit. It's a fully electric. And I'm like, if this stuff is evil, why are you using it? You know, now I'm not saying it because I'm trying to get a fucking job at the time. But I'm just thinking to myself, this is such legalistic, hypocritical shit. Somebody says Thanksgiving better than Halloween. I'm going to have to block that person from the chat. That's no good. Thanksgiving better than Halloween. What the fuck? As a middle child, I find that offensive, Bechtloff. Does Bechtloff go for Black Friday shopping? You know, I typically do not. Again, I'm generally done my shopping by Thanksgiving. At least I try to be. My Black Friday tradition is to put up the tree. I consider it, you know, that's officially Christmas season. Thanksgiving's over. We're done with that shitty holiday. Now we can move on to Christmas, damn it. We're going to put up a tree. You know, maybe we're going to put a little fucking train around the tree. That's fantastic. And I have this one decoration. I wish I had a picture on the computer. I'll have to take a picture and I put up. I call him $1 Santa. And I call him that because, first of all, it's one of those big, stupid, and they've kind of become popular again recently, but those big, stupid, light-up plastic things, you know what I mean? They're like plastic, and there's like a light bulb in it, and it lights up at night, right? Well, this thing is like, this thing is left over from like the 50s or 60s, right? This thing is old as fuck. Like a lot of the paint's worn off of it. I got it from a thrift store the day after Christmas, and all the Christmas stuff was half off. So it was $2. Then it was $1, you know, so I've always called him $1 Santa. And it's like the one I'm as much as I would love to decorate the outside of the house, like Carl, like the fucking guy in Griswold, the guy in Christmas Vacation, just, you know, you could see this fucking thing from space. I'd love to do that, but I just don't have the time. I just don't have the energy. But every year, $1 Santa goes out. And that thing means the world to me. And the reason being is because my father's mother, my grandmother, she was another one that loved Christmas. And she loved the big, goofy, gaudy fucking Christmas decorations. And it was a couple years after she had passed, but my immediate thought when I saw it was, oh man, Grandma would have loved that. And I was like, how much is that? $2? That's going home with me. And then I didn't even know it was half off, you know? So I always put $1 Santa out starting Black Friday. That's my Black Friday things. I don't generally go out for the shopping. I'm usually done with that by then. But yeah, my Black Friday thing is you put the tree up. And I've got a lot of great ornaments for the tree too. I got a lot of Hallmark ornaments over the year, a lot of nerd shit, a lot of like superhero stuff and all. You know, last year I got a cool Mario ornament. Santa brought me that. That was fantastic. There's a few more Nintendo ornaments this year. I'm hoping Santa brings me those, especially the Link one. There's like Link from like the first Zelda game when he still had a cross on his shield. But yeah, never really did a lot of the Black Friday shopping. I mean, sometimes I'll go out on Black Friday and all, but it's not really a thing where I'm doing the Christmas shopping then that much. I'm usually done by then. Let's see. I never liked football either, but I swore off Stranger Things and the semi-pause Daredevil season 3 in support of my football fan friend who are boycotting. I can kind of see that then. Mike Enoch's does Mike Enoch resemble the NPC meme dude? Let's see. Mike Enoch wants Julie Borowski to snuggle with him as he plays Sonic 3. I think you're confusing the alt-right for the neo-reactionary there. Two different forms of autism. Let's see. Might need to try these Popeyes Cajun turkey they sell. Popeyes is so good. Eggnog is just for Christmas. I never really liked eggnog that much.
I had a phase where I would drink it every day for the holiday.
You know something I drink a lot on Christmas time, and I don't really drink it any other time of the year, is cherry 7-Up. And I've always liked 7-Up a lot. It's easily the best clear soda out there. I mean, it kicks Sprite's ass all day long. But cherry 7-Up, for whatever reason, is just something that I always associate it with the holidays. I think it's like, I think it was just for whatever reason, it was always around the house around the holidays. I think like my one aunt really liked it or something, and that's why. But it just was always around the house on like Thanksgiving time and Christmas time when people are over. There just was always cherry 7-Up around the fucking house. And Christmas time, I just get a hankering for it, man. I never really even think to get it. Again, I'm a grown ass man. I can purchase it anytime I want. Nothing's stopping me. But I never really even think to do it. It's not like I have some rule where I'm like, it's not Christmas time, I can't have it. I just never really think to get it unless it's like around Christmas time. Yeah, that Donkey Kong machine one looks great. The Mario Kart one looks. I hope Santa brings me all three of those. I really do. They look fantastic. I don't even like get a lot of the superhero Hallmark ornaments anymore because I just have so many of them over the years. The one year there was actually a Predator ornament. So I have a Predator on my tree. But yeah, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, like the Zelda one, and the Zelda one actually is like it not light up, but it has like sound. And it plays the Zelda theme. Supposedly the Donkey Kong one lights up, but I didn't actually see that one on display. And the Mario Kart looks fucking fantastic. I can't even decide. The Zelda one is my favorite. If I could only have one, it'd be the Zelda guy. Just because it's so rare when you see merchandise of Link from the original two games when he had the shield with the cross on the shield. But the other two, man, I'm so glad Nintendo is starting to actually do like merchandise again. Like they've gotten over, this fear of licensing stuff to Western companies. Like you actually see a lot of Nintendo toys out there now. Makes me wish I had them as a kid.
Do you look like this?
Yep, that's the one. That's on my Christmas tree. Yeah, they didn't really have a lot of Mario toys when I was a kid. They had some like figurines. Like I had one of like Mario holding a mushroom, and one of like Luigi was like running, and I had a Princess Peach one with it too. I actually used to play with them with the Ninja Turtle sewer pipes. Looked a lot like Mario pipes, so I actually used to use them with the Mario toys when I was a little kid. Going to the chat here. So he says, I used to like football, or I used to hate football, then I kind of got into it for a while, then the kneeling shit happened. Now I'm like, yeah, football is gay. There's honestly times when I kind of wish I was into it. Just because of the social aspect of it. But I just can't get into it, man. It's just fucking boring. It's kind of why I miss when I used to have some buddies that were big into basketball, because again, I was never a big basketball guy myself, but I could at least watch it. It at least was fucking watchable. I don't even consider football watchable. Although I will say, was it this past year? I think it was this past year. The Eagles won and all. The end of that fucking Super Bowl, I happened to catch just on a whim because I wanted to see if it was over, and it was like towards the end. It was actually kind of exciting. It was a bit of a come from behind thing and all. It was halfway fucking watchable, which is the most football's ever been to me. Let's see. Somebody said Stanley Cup was we jumped to the bottom for some reason. I don't know why I did that. Let me go back to where I was. Let's see. Stanley Cup was the it hockey game for SNES, I remember. Tecmo Bowl was the shit. Monday Matt won at esports in the Olympics. Well, Monday Matt is he's Monday Matt. Let's see. You guys voting tomorrow? You damn right. Sports games have microtransactions out the ass now. That doesn't surprise me. I'm so tired of being told voting is important. You know what, guys? Now, y'all, because you're listening to this fine program, which of course is a big brain nibble program where we talk about fucking Nintendo Hallmark ornaments and shit like that. Y'all are some switched on motherfuckers, and you know what you're doing. However, like he's like you ever hear like vote even if you don't know what all about all the issues? No, how about you fucking figure shit out, then you vote? How about you don't just cast an uninformed vote? How about you actually fucking, as they like to say on the left, educate yourself, and then you fucking vote. Okay.
And you're probably affected by all the horrible advertisements you're hearing. Vote this. We all really care about our neighborhood, except Larry, who doesn't vote. That was actually a Sesame Street themed voting advertisement.
Democracy is about the lowest common denominator pulling together out of hate and dispossessing you without a fight. Well, I'm not a fan of pure democracy. I mean, I think maybe there should be some democratic elements to a government, but I mean, in theory, we have a constitutional republic, a constitutional democratic republic, I guess, is the correct term for our form of government. I mean, ultimately, though, you'd be like, well, how come it's turned to shit? I mean, because things tend to do that if you don't fucking maintain them. I mean, what else do you want, I
mean, there's no perfect system. I mean, anarchy ends every second people want to run things.
I mean... I don't necessarily have all the answers. I'm not going to sit here and I know what the perfect form of government is. See, so many of these big brain nibbas out there, they want to be like, I know what the perfect form of government is because I can imagine this form of government working really well. Or I could even point to times in which this form of government worked really well. But what about all the times it didn't? Oh, those didn't count. Maybe things just tend to turn to shit if we're not all on our toes, okay? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we get the government we deserve. Maybe there's even a spiritual dimension to things. Where,
Think again, sunshine.
Where, you turn your back on the light of God and things turn to shit. I don't know. Just maybe. Let's see. My almonds are activated. People were talking about that guy's video, I guess. My message was deleted by YouTube because I used the word FAGOT. I headed on over and left a downvote, doing my civic duty. Yes, everybody, feel free to downvote Jello Apocalypse's video because he's big on voting. He wants you to vote. So maybe head over to his video and vote. Just saying. He wants you to do it. He wants you to do it. He wants you to make your voice known. Dan Crenshaw looks like Big Boss from Metal Gear 5. I'm not really familiar with the Metal Gear games, but I don't doubt that he does. Like, he just looks badass. There's no getting around that, all right? He looks like the chief from Harvey Birdman. He does look like the chief from Harvey Birdman. Somebody says, what up, Bechtloff? How's it going? So he says, Bechtloff, Castlevania 2 was a letdown. Well, I don't know what the fuck you watched. I loved it. There's a little bit of fedora tipping in there. With like when the girl talked about how, you know, as a speaker, she thinks that God hates her, and I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but there's a little bit of fedora tipping, but it's fucking Warren Ellis. That guy can't help it. For the most part, though, I really like Castlevania 2. Castlevania Season 2. And Carmilla is best anime waifu. Changed my mind. Let's see. Is there a Pilgrim video game? Not that I'm aware of. Oregon Trail. Yeah, I guess maybe that. Although that's not really Pilgrim. That's settling the West, but still close enough, I guess. Somebody says that was the best part of Ghostbusters, that the government regulations caused the issues they claimed to prevent and then prevented its resolution. That's true. Both Ghostbusters movies, all the especially the first one, you know, the first one at least, all the human antagonists are government employees.
They cause an explosion. Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no.
Oh, dude, I love that. Everything was fine until Dick was here. Shut off the containment units. Is this true? Yes. This man has no dick. And then he starts like trying to fight him. And you just hear Bill Murray kind of in the background of this big hustle go, well, that's what I heard. Let's see. Bechtloff, there's a vote on the ballot on if the fantasy football BS should stay illegal in my parish. Yep, that's a definite nay for legalization. Wait. So, Ian McDonald, you may have to explain this to me. Your church bans playing fantasy football? I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe because they think gambling is a sin. Although I still contend I don't that's nowhere in the fucking Bible, and I don't know where Christians get that. I mean, yeah, you could say excessive gambling is a sin, but what the fuck isn't a sin in excess? Excess by its very nature is, by its very definition is excessive. Yeah, gambling more than you can afford to lose is a sin, but gambling in of itself isn't. I don't know where Christians got that, but then again, there's some Protestant denominations that swear drinking is a sin, and that's really fucking retarded. You know, the sinless Lamb of God both drank himself and encouraged others to do so, to the point of performing miracles so that they could do so.
I mean, when he had the final supper, he had wine to say, "This is my blood spilled for you. Do this in remembrance of me." He didn't use grape juice.
Yeah, he didn't turn water into wine just to show you that he could. And he was like, yeah, but don't drink this stuff. I mean, if he was just doing it to show you that he could do cool stuff, he could have turned it into lava. I mean,
that'd be a harsh wedding drink.
I mean, that would have looked cooler, you have to admit. I turned water into fire. How about that? I mean, if it was just a parlor trick, that would have been cooler. Let's see. I know I got a bunch of LARPy Satanists to cry about its representation of Baphomet. Oh, he's talking about the Sabrina series. Yeah, I haven't really caught any of the Sabrina series, so I couldn't really tell you.
Oh, I've watched it, and it's creepy as heck. It's a really creepy satanic vibe behind it. When it's not being SJW, of course.
I'm not necessarily against the idea of just doing Sabrina darker. Like, I don't know how I feel about Riverdale. I watched a little bit of season 1, and I just kind of fell out of it because I mostly don't watch a lot of TV.
Oh yes,
but there was something really interesting about it because it was like the darkest possible interpretation of these normally very, very lighthearted characters, but still stayed true to it. You know what I mean? It was like just looking at Archie through the darkest possible glass.
Yeah,
but it still was. It was still Archie. You know what I mean? Even if it was almost if it was almost felt like I was watching an Archie show in the fucking Star Trek mirror universe, it was still Archie. You know what I mean? It still felt. I almost don't even know how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea of like, okay, let's do the darkest possible interpretation of Sabrina we can do while still being Sabrina.
Well, you
that
just
said, though, something about it just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah,
like
it also doesn't
Riverdale.
help.
See, it's not for me, but I can kind of respect it if that makes sense. Like it's definitely succeeding in what they sought out to do. You know what I mean? But there's something about Sabrina. I don't have any interest.
And it also doesn't help that she actually starts an organization called Women Intersectional Creativity and Community Association, or WICA. Intersectionality, that's a word.
Somebody says the way the spiritual realm acts on material plane is like a glory hole. It may poke you, but you know there's a whole lot more on the other side of the wall. An interesting way to put it. I mean, I don't necessarily think you're wrong. Somebody says he looks like Deathstroke unmasked. Yeah, he does kind of look like Deathstroke and Arrow in the Arrow show. Somebody says sucking out all the childhood innocence of a classic cartoon franchise. Yeah, there's that. What is Hollywood obsession with making everything dark? Remember fun? What the hell happened to fun? We don't have fun anymore. We're too busy saving the West. Bunch of big brain nibbers saving the West. I don't know. I mean, dark stuff can be fun. I am a horror fan after all. But yeah, I don't necessarily think everything has to be grim and gritty all the fucking time. We can tell a lot of different stories, so let's do just that. I don't know. I mean, part of it, at this point, you have to conclude is the fact that Hollywood is run by dark, evil, twisted motherfuckers,
and they are.
So there's that. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about? Fucking hell. You know what's annoying? When like you're on a window and you think you're in one fucking tab, you know what I mean? And somehow like just the loading of it or whatever has launched you into another tab, and then you start typing and you end up slung across the whole fucking window. That's always fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, another downside.
You're trying to do something real quick while you're live, and then you just fucking everything seemingly goes ape shit.
Oh yeah, another downside of Sabrina, Salem the cat doesn't talk.
It doesn't talk.
He talks when we first see him, and it turns out he's this giant monster who turns into a cat form.
Well, I never really read the comic originally, but I did watch the TV show in the 90s when it first came out. And wasn't he like, he was a person that got turned into a cat and now he had to live as a cat because he was being punished or something by like the Council of Witches because he was an asshole?
Yeah, in this one, Salem is her familiar, protective spirit, and the person who plays the person under house arrest is this necromancer cousin of hers.
So here's an interesting little story. I threw this in the chat, Luke, if you want to click it.
All right, what do we got?
So Ukulele, remember the Banjo-Kazooie type game that got crowdfunded? Ukulele has a comic book coming out. Ukulele and the Cracklestone is a full-color, 120-page graphic novel based on the characters and world of the video game Ukulele. The book has been created, written, and drawn by Dream Prism Press founder DM Como with blessing from Ukulele creator Platonic Games. The story feature, whatever. I didn't actually get a chance to play Ukulele, and if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I think Banjo-Kazooie is painfully over fucking rated. So I wasn't necessarily like, I was happy to see any kind of retro revival, you know, but I was like, whatever, I don't care. I just like, why couldn't something like Shovel Knight get a comic book? Why does Ukulele got to get a comic book? Like, who cares?
Yeah, the same.
Like Shovel Knight would make a fucking awesome comic. You tell me like IDW or fucking Boom couldn't do an awesome Shovel Knight comic? That'd be the tits.
And keep in mind, this is the same game that kicked out John Trons for his bad opinions.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. I don't necessarily know if I want to support Ukulele at all anymore. It's kind of why I eventually didn't play the game. And I haven't heard good things about Ukulele. I've heard at best mixed things. I know the guy over at Stop Skeletons from Fighting, that game channel that I like, he flat out said this is a bad game. Like, Ukulele is a failure. It fails at what it wants to do. And again, I don't particularly think Banjo-Kazooie was that great in the first place. Now, granted, I don't have any nostalgia for Banjo-Kazooie. I think it was, you know, mid-2000s I ever got a chance to play it. Like, you know, the N64 was kind of old news at that point by the time I played it, and I wasn't very enthralled with it.
Well, to be fair, it would be the example of a fun game, fun that exists in the world of make-believe nowadays.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's awful. I wouldn't be like, oh, this is terrible. How can you like this? It just, I think it's overrated.
The second game didn't make a lot of sense. I got stuck on it.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up because, you know, I do have to go to bed at a decent time. I have to leave a little early for work tomorrow because I have to go to the voting booth and yank down that lever with the might of Zeus. That's exactly what I'm going to do, too. Folks, like I said, because, you know, Saturday I didn't have the stream, so obviously I might do another one this week, just kind of make up for that. If you enjoy the content I put out, you know, you like these streams, and consider supporting the show. And remember, I don't have super chats anymore. My channel's been fucking demonetized. All right. I can apply again for it in like a month, but I don't have high hopes for that.
Yeah. At this point, YouTube is just kicking people off with no recourse.
Yeah. I'm just thankful they actually let, you know, so, you know, maybe while you're still allowed to buy and sell without having to market a beast on you, maybe you send me a couple of shekels, folks, you know, to keep this going.
Just $1 a month on Patreon would be awesome.
Yeah. Simply $1 a month on Patreon would be great. You know, if everybody who subscribed to this channel was sending me $1 a month on Patreon, I could probably do really great things with this channel. You know, and there's also the PayPal. You can send a one-time donation on PayPal, any amount. Could be $1, could be $1 million. That doesn't seem very likely for many of you, but I wouldn't turn it down. But any amount on Patreon or on PayPal, you can send, you know, donation. And there's also the Amazon wish list. I know a lot of you have gotten me books and games and stuff off there, and I appreciate that. And there are reviews coming. I have a little reading pile that I'm plowing through, guys. Don't worry. And I sort of gave like opening thoughts on Owlboy and Mega Man 11 that people have gotten me, but I will do more thorough thoughts when I'm either beating those games or damn near. But, you know, support the show, and not just me. Support the alternative media you enjoy in general. That's me, if that's Thorny, if that's some gaming channels you really like, maybe toss $1 or something there, Patreon. You know, if that's, you know, if it's the Ralph retort, you know, maybe you send him $1 in the actual snail mail, because that's the only way you're allowed to now. No, I think he's still on PayPal, actually, for now.
Yeah, what site is he on now? What's it called? Derail?
I don't know what he's streaming on now. I'd have to go into like his Discord and check. I mean, I'm in his Discord, so I told him he could use the Landshark channel. Like, I sent him a message. I don't know if he got it or not, but I sent him a message on Facebook, actually, and I was like, you know, you can use my Landshark channel if you need one, but I think he's just, you know, he's not going to bother going back on YouTube, because they probably have fucking AIs that'll snipe him the minute it hears his voice. You know, it probably would be a bad idea with my luck. It'd be like, you know, he's on there for like 10 minutes and then Landshark and Bechtloff are fucking both gone. But yeah, do consider supporting the stream, folks. That helps it keep going. And let's see. Yeah, that's about all we got for folks. I want to thank you all. Thank you all for listening. And that's all we got for tonight. Go ahead and go out and vote tomorrow. Vote early, vote often. And go ahead and yank that R lever with the might of Zeus.
And if you happen to live in California, see if you can vote twice because they don't check for ID.
Yeah, tell them you're Jesus Sanchez coming to vote. I'm sure there's at least one of them in your area. All right, folks. That's all I got for tonight. Thanks for listening. Bechtloff out.